Well, let's talk about what we call public speaking. Do you know, by the way, one of the greatest fears in life is what we call grassophobia. Grassophobia. Grassophobia is the fear of public speaking. And this is one of the greatest fears in life. And this fear comes, of course, with devastating effects, among them holding you from taking risk to share your ideas, block you from presenting solutions, and hinder your personal and professional growth. This begs the question, why are we then afraid of public speaking? Welcome. This is Marketplace Believers. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. If this is your first time to be here, we encourage you to hit the subscriber button so that every time when we go on air, YouTube would alert you on the new videos that we've been able to alert. We've been able to upload. So we encourage you to, and if you're following us on Facebook, we also encourage you to write to us and tell us what you are learning. This is online class. My name is John Kimani. So we've said grassophobia is the biggest and the greatest, is among the greatest fears that we have in the world. Gary Defty, in an excellent article, Why We Are Scared of Public Speaking, believes that communicating your ideas clearly and presenting them in an openly in a public forum is a big time success. And actually, when as a leader, when you're able to present your goals, when you're able to articulate the idea that is you have, and you're able to say it clearly, and you're able to present it in a very simple manner, then we can simply say that you are basically very successful. Failure to be able to address people, failure to be able to communicate and pass the message that you have in a convincing manner, then it is a very big failure in life. Public speaking, also known as oratory or oration, it simply means that you are able to speak in person to a live audience. That means that you're standing in front of the people and you are able to tell them something and they are able to understand. Today, public speaking has actually changed. You can speak informally or you can speak formally. When you speak formally, it simply says that your message or your presentation is formal, is official, is something that something that is organized, is starting from a point A to point B, where you say, I'm going to speak about, let's say, like leadership. Then you begin, what is leadership? Then you say why people are not in leadership. Then you say the advantages of leadership, and basically you are following a written script. Now, that is what we call formal kind of a presentation. But then there is what we call informal kind of a presentation. This is whereby there is fun, there is laughter. It's just a conversation, and you're engaging your audience in the conversation. This is whereby you're free to make jokes and you're free to move around the audience. And this is what basically most of the charismatic preachers would do. They would communicate the message in an informal manner. So when this is done, it can be on a live audience, or it can be a pre-recorded, or it can be at a distance, like the way I'm doing. One of the greatest speakers that the world have been able to have is Confucius. Confucius believed that there is power in both words and action. And the public speaking, just to say the least, is actually aims at persuasion. It aims actually at three things. It aims at persuasion. That means helping people to sway from one direction to the other. when we're talking about persuasion, we are simply saying that you are able to change somebody's view, you're able to change somebody's opinion, you're able to change somebody's perspective from A to B. That is persuasion. And what we see basically with the preachers and with politicians and with salespeople is basically persuasion. They want to persuade you. A salesman wants to persuade you to buy his or her product or a service. A pastor or a preacher would want to sway you, would want to persuade you to adopt to one line of thinking. And it doesn't matter whether this is a Muslim or a Seventh-day Adventist, or whether he's a prosperity or a TV evangelist, or just a teacher like I am here. Persuasion speaking simply means that I want to convince you. I want to move you from point A to point B. Salespeople would do the same. The same would apply to politicians, because they would want you to ditch party A and embrace party B. They would want you to endorse their candidature, so they would use a lot of persuasion. The second goal of public speaking, apart from persuasion, is actually teaching. This is aimed at passing some certain information, and not only passing information, but actually teaching you, but actually equipping you, giving you some level of information so that your behavior can change. When we are teaching, we simply go beyond persuasion, but actually we aim at behavior change. We aim at empowering you. We aim at giving you skills that can be able to help you to become a better person. With persuasion, once you take the perspective, or once you buy the product, the speaker is done with you. But with a teacher goes beyond that. At one point, yes, he wants to persuade you and wants to sway you to take a particular line of thought. But again, a teacher expects that you're going to allow the teachings that he has been able to teach you to be part and parcel of your life. If you don't practice the things that the teacher taught you, then it simply means that the teacher did not teach you. We need to say, teachers are not necessarily there to help students pass exam. No, it is more than that. It is about behavior change. It's about making impact. It's about giving you skills and equipping you so that you can teach others. So the third thing is entertaining. Public speaking can be entertaining. We've seen stand-up comedians like Churchill Life who just go out there and make people laugh in their laugh industry. So public speaking aims at persuasion. It aims at teaching and also entertaining. And why do we need, why are we bringing this course to you? Because we want to equip you, we want to empower you as a leader, we want to give you skills, we want to give you something that will be able to help you to stand before people without fear and speak in a way that people will listen to you without getting bored. And we have said, remember, this is the greatest fear in the world, and it is very important for us to know the skills that we can be able to use so that we can be able to overcome glossophobia, the fear of public speaking. If you are afraid of speaking, then you are not alone, because Moses was also afraid of speaking. If you can read with me from the book of Exodus chapter 3. Let me see, this is so that we are able to see that. Actually, it's Exodus chapter 4. Exodus chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 1. Verse 1. The Bible says, if you're there, Moses asked the Lord, suppose everyone refuses to listen to my message, and no one believes that you've really appeared to me. The Lord answered, what is in your hand? A walking stick. You know, look at Moses, especially in verse 1. He says, Moses asked, suppose everyone refuses to listen to me. In other words, what Nani is simply saying with these words, let me show you those words because it is very important for you to see them. Moses asked the Lord, suppose everyone refuses to listen to me. In other words, he was afraid. He thought himself as a bad speaker. Down there is somewhere he actually says, I am poor in speaking. Please send someone else. It is very important for us to understand that even Moses was afraid of speaking. He was fearful of standing before people and passing message. So you're not alone in that one. And because there is a lot of fear of speaking before people, that's why this maybe explains why there is a lot of very few speakers around. But again, the beautiful thing is that you can be able to learn how to speak. You know, you can learn how to speak. So let's go to the questions. What are the benefits of public speaking? In other words, why do we need to learn about public speaking? Number one, when we learn to speak, is that it boosts confidence. It boosts confidence. We are able to speak fluently without stammering, without losing concentration. We are able to express ourselves confidently, and we are able to flow fluently. And this kind of confidence actually does not come automatically. It comes from one-on-one. It graduates to speaking to a group. The confidence keep on growing, and you are able to apply the opinions and the insights that you've gained, so that you are able to stand in any stage of whichever magnitude and be able to express yourself without running helter-skelter, without actually shaking. Research findings from North Carolina reports that 9 out of 18 people who engaged in public speaking actually increased confidence. That is very important statistics to hear, that one of the quickest ways of gaining confidence is when you stand before people and you are able to express yourself, and you are able to talk to the people, looking at them without looking up there. You are able to look at their eyes. You are able to move. You are able to move from point to one. You are able to move from your notes. You are able to look at them. You are able to coordinate fluently without losing concentration. The second reason why we need to study or public speaking is because it's also a form of personal growth. It's a form of personal growth. Any person who actually ventures into public speaking develops several things. Develops creativity, the ability to say things in a way people that will remember. That is creativity. You are able to know where to insert humor and what kind of humor that you need to put, and you become creative in ways of engaging yourself with the audience, like maybe posing, speaking in a loud voice, sometimes lowering your voice, sometimes bending forward, sometimes leaning back, sometimes using gestures, sometimes dancing around. This is all aimed. These gymnastics and skills and strategies that public speakers use are all aimed at, they all point to creativity. So it helps you to grow, to attain personal growth in creativity, in critical thinking skills, because you really need to ask yourself, who am I going to talk to? What are they thinking? What are their aspirations? What are their ambitions? What are their limitations? What are their frustrations? And even after the speech, after presentation, whether it is informal or formal, you need to ask yourself, did they understand what I told them? Where did I fail? You know, when you're engaging in all these things, what you're doing is that you're developing your critical skills. It also develops leadership abilities, because you would want to stand and champion a cause, you know, advance an idea, be able to sell something to them. This has, you know, you want to influence them, you want to sway them, you need to with them to buy something, you want them to adopt a new way of thinking, you want them to adopt to a new way of doing things. This is all leadership. It has to do with the poise, the way you stand, the way you present yourself, as well as other areas that are a huge plus in the career world. By the way, when you venture into public speaking, you must really have to think about your personal grooming. You must improve your wardrobe, which is also part of personal growth. Number 3, you also need to develop your mind, because you really need to have mastered the knowledge, the information that you want to pass. Because if you don't speak in a confident manner, then people that are listening to you, your audience, will not believe in the message. If they see in your face, you know, doubt, you know, confusion, you know, stammering, then they would hardly believe your message. And when you speak well, of course, to the customers, of course, you know that customers will be drawn to you. They will bring business, and that means that business will grow. Reason number 3 why public speaking is very important is because communication skills are not optional. Communication skills are not optional. Think about it. What would happen if the world was full of dumb people? As in, you know, we are all dumb, you know, and there's no sign language. What do you think would happen? By the way, I would suggest, I would encourage you to go to our Facebook, John Kimani. Please answer to us, what would happen if the world was full of dumb people? I'm going to post that right there so that you can answer it. I need you to answer to us today's question. Okay, today's question. I need you to answer this. What would happen if the world was full of dumb people? Please let me know what would happen if the world would be full of dumb people. You just go to our Facebook page, that is John Kimani, and let me know what would happen if the world was full of dumb people. And I'm going to read your comments at the tail end of this broadcast. Now, let me tell you something that I've learned in life. One of the things, and there are 3 things that I've actually learned in life, that most people have great message, but they don't know how to pass it. Most people speak, yet no one listens to them, and so they are very, very frustrated. But a lot of people spend a lot of spend a lot of time communicating, and so it is very, very important for us to be able to know how to communicate. Reason number 4. Communication skills are needed today. Communication skills are needed today. Whether it's a young, for that young man to be able to, who are ready to marry him, if it's about a customer, if it's about a businessman who wants to sell, if it's about a salesman who wants to sell her products to a potential customer, whether it's about a politician who wants to sell his policies to a potential voter, whether it's a president who is trying to gain buy-in into his or her policy, it simply shows that communication skills are needed. When a parent actually would want to pass an important message to his or her son, of course, part of, he will require communication skills. Of course, communication to teenagers and communication to toddlers, it will require different sets of communication strategy. You know, with a toddler, you can repeat your voice needs to be soft. With a teenager, you need to raise up your voice, be a little bit engaging, you know, and explain why you are doing this. With children, you just need to say, go to bed. Daddy says everybody goes to bed, and that comes to and a communication that is close, that does not need feedback. But when you are talking with adults, of course, you'd want to use the word please, you know, and use persuasion and be able to tell my friends, good people, wonderful people, you know, dear believers, dear saints. You'd want to engage that kind of language, and you don't need really to be authoritative. You don't need to look at them down like they're small children. Otherwise, they will switch off. So communication skills are needed in today's world. And for us to be able to survive and make an impact and be able to influence the world, especially towards Christ, then we really need to have these skills today. There's a quote that actually goes something like this: if we have learned anything in 2014, it's the fact that ability to communicate well is critical for anyone serving in public and private sector. By the way, one of my most interesting piece that I love reading in the dailies is the best and worst communicators for that year. You know, I just love, you know, watching and reading the best and the worst communicators for that year end. So communication skills are needed in today's world. Reason number 5, I believe, and we had actually said this, is that communication improves critical thinking. Communication improves critical thinking. Hear this: any person who actually engages in public speaking improves in critical thinking. You know, by the way, if you've never known, to put up a speech, to put up a sermon, to put up you know, a presentation actually requires, among other things, audience analysis. You need to ask yourself, who am I going to speak to? What are they thinking? What are their perspectives? What are their affiliations? What are their frustrations? What are their expectations? You know, you do also want to ask yourself, how am I going to introduce this topic? You know, and which point should I begin with, and which one should I put in the middle, and which one needs emphasis? You know, and how will I close? How will I close so that I'm able to capture, I'm able to bring the whole message to a good and a smooth close? You know, because there's a way you can close and everybody forgets the message. But how am I able to close this message? Am I going to close with a question? Am I going to close with a story? Or how am I going to conclude my message? You know, when you're thinking about all these things, it actually stretches your critical thinking. You know, and all said and done, remember, you need to create a message that fits with the audience. And when you're doing all this simply means that you are creative. Number 6, why we need to do public speaking, or one of the advantages or benefits of public speaking, is it's expected. It's expected. Yeah. Think about this. What would happen if a child is born and by the age of 5 years, he or she is unable to speak, is unable to express himself, is unable to, you know, speak words that are intelligible? Then of course you would want a label of being abnormal. At a tender age, you know, parents, especially mothers, spend long hours communicating with the infants, and you know how they talk. Toto, sasa, how are you? Pole, mtoto ni amekukasirisha. You know, and the baby is just yelling and yelling and yelling. Sometimes, just to notice that these children are able to hear, you would see the child laugh or smile. You know, and the reason why mothers keep on talking with these little babies is to pass a language. They want to pass a language. That's why the language that you speak naturally is called mother tongue. because you naturally speak the language that your mother spoke to you with. Okay? It's no wonder that even when children make incoherent sounds, parents and family members as well as friends seems to decipher the meaning, because it's expected that one must talk. If you are not able to communicate, you will take you do not be a welcome. People will get worried. People will fast and pray for you so that you are able to communicate. Number 7. Reason number 7 why we need to learn about communication is it's the only way to learn how to persuade. It's the only way to learn how to persuade. Remember, public speaking have been used for both non and violent activism. It has been used for political change. Public speakers have used this powerful way to unite people or to divide people. You know, public speaking have been used to bring people to a common perspective, to a common understanding, and even to challenge them and encourage them and inspire them to take action. No wonder somebody like the former president, the retired president of US, President Obama, went around the country telling them to vote him and telling them, yes, we can. You know, somebody like Martin Luther and people like Hunter McGarvey, they went around during their time and asking the people to rally around a certain cause. That means, you know, for us to be able to persuade people, for us to be able to sway people, for us to be able to encourage people to depart from a certain way of thinking and join and embrace a certain way of thinking, then we need to learn about public speaking. Number 8, why we need public speaking, because it's a measure of personal success. Public speaking is a measure of personal success. The only way, and the only way that one can be able to learn respect from other people is through your communication. If you communicate in a rude manner, in a disrespectful manner, of course you will not be respected. But if you are able to communicate in a clear manner, in a way that you encourage people, in a way that makes people feel great, in a way that makes people encourage, then people are going to respect you. No wonder people like what do you call these people? I'm forgetting the name. People like John Maxwell, you know, Les Brown, people like Pastor Joel Austin, they are actually respected because of the way they communicate. Somebody like the former president Barack Obama, veterans like Martin Luther, they all are respected today. Somebody like Mother Teresa, you know, they are all respected today because of their way, because of their ability to communicate and to communicate well. And we are saying, it is said, if you learn how to communicate, then you will solve 80% of your problems. If you are able to learn how to communicate and you communicate effectively, you've solved 80% of your personal problems. So do you want to solve most of the problems that you're going through? Then please enroll for this course, because you solve 80% of your problem. You know, reason, if you don't say it well, others won't listen to you. Number 9, why you need to learn about communication is because we've already said it here, is that it gives you success. It gives you success. It gives you success. It gives you prosperity, so to speak. It gives you prosperity. Les Brown earns a lot of money because of public speaking. Pastor Joel Austin attracts huge crowds of people, and they have been able to help him to build great things because he is very good in communication. John Maxwell has been able to write a lot of books, earning him lots of money. Why? Because he is good in communication. We want to encourage you to rethink of doing a public speaking class. Remember, this class is on offer here, and so we encourage you to join. And by the way, there are some guys here who have actually joined us. We have Pastor Ben here. Thank you very much. Doing a lot of notes. And remember, our question today's question is, what would happen if the world would be full of dumb people? Benson actually says, Pastor Benson Kamugi says, it will be very boring. He's taking very good notes here. Thank you very much. Remember, we are also on what we call YouTube. Let's see if anybody is there, so that we can be able to read comments. Unfortunately, we don't have any comments there, but we are there. So anyway, those are the reasons why public speaking is very important. We encourage you, if you want to join this class, please SMS us on 0706 566 555. This is Marketplace Media, an online platform that engages, equips, and encourages believers to say inawezekana. Thanks so much for watching, and for those of you that are silent viewers,